right, let's just dive right into a really uncomfortable truth today. Let me ask you something. Why is it that, despite your absolute best efforts, your money just vanishes by the end of the month? I mean, you work hard, you try to keep track of things, but poof, it's just gone.
Look, I know you read the articles, I know you watch all the financial tips, and you know you're supposed to be saving more and spending less. We all know that, right? And yet, here you are still left scratching your head wondering where it all went. So what's actually going on here?
Well, here is the secret literally nobody tells you. Being broke, it isn't primarily a math problem. It is a psychology problem. Your bank account is being quietly drained by these invisible mental patterns, not just poor budgeting. Honestly, no budgeting app is ever going to stick until you actually understand the mental software running in the background. So let's patch that software today.
All right, Section 1, the income illusion.
We've got to start by shattering this deeply held myth, the belief that simply making more money is going to magically solve all your financial stress. I've literally seen people building incredible generational wealth on 40 grand a year, while others pulling in 200,000 are, no joke, one missed paycheck away from complete disaster. The difference is never the number on the paycheck, it's what happens inside their heads.
And that brings us to Parkinson's law of money. This is a phenomenon where your expenses naturally and almost automatically expand to consume whatever income you have available. It's like a gas filling a room. When you get a raise, your lifestyle just creeps up to match it. Most people who earn more, well, they simply spend more.
Moving on to Section 2, your brain is wired to spend.
Here's the harsh reality. Your ancient human brain evolved to prioritize surviving today over making it to some distant winter. And this creates our first major cognitive trap, present bias. Basically, your brain massively overvalues immediate rewards. Neuroscience actually shows that when you try to think about your 65-year-old self, your brain lights up the exact same regions as it does for a complete stranger. Crazy, right? So it's not laziness keeping you from saving, it's hardcore biology.
Then there's this fascinating trap called mental accounting. It's kind of like this irrational filing system in your brain where you treat money completely differently based on where it came from or what you've labeled it. For example, your brain treats a hard-earned paycheck strictly as serious money for bills, but it looks at a tax refund as fun money, just waiting to be blown instantly. They're both just dollars, but your brain's filing system creates these wildly irrational decisions.
And the third trap? Loss aversion. As humans, we actually feel the pain of losing money about twice as intensely as we feel the pleasure of gaining that exact same amount. This intense fear of loss ironically keeps you from gaining wealth because it completely tricks you into avoiding the stock market and just hoarding cash in these safe savings accounts. But here's the kicker. That cash is quietly losing its value to inflation every single day. The fear of losing is literally keeping you from gaining.
Okay, let's transition to Section 3, the social spending spiral.
Now, this is the trap nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, wants to admit to. Economists call it conspicuous consumption. That's just a fancy term for spending designed purely to signal your status and identity to other people. You're not buying that car just to get from point A to point B. You're buying it to scream something about who you are. And man, social media has poured absolute gasoline on this fire. It tricks your status-obsessed brain into interpreting someone else's highlight reel as an actual biological threat.
So right before you make your next big purchase, you need to pause, look in the mirror, and be ruthlessly honest with yourself. Ask yourself this one single clarifying question. Am I buying this because it genuinely improves my life, or am I buying it to be perceived a certain way? Honestly, the answer will probably surprise you. The most financially successful people out there, they are aggressively indifferent to what their spending looks like to others. They don't perform wealth, they build it.
Moving right along to Section 4, the convenience economy.
Another huge culprit quietly picking your pocket every day is our modern environment. It's expertly designed to make spending entirely frictionless. Because of this one-tap, friction-free setup, the average person actually underestimates their monthly subscription spending by a massive 40 to 80%. Think about that. You sign up, you completely forget, and you just keep paying. That is not a bug in the system, guys. That's literally the entire business model.
The fix here isn't willpower. Willpower always runs out eventually. The real fix is deliberately adding friction back into your life. Cancel those apps that make spending a one-tap process. Go ahead and delete your saved credit card numbers from your browser right now. And actually try using physical cash for discretionary spending. Why? Because physically handing over bills triggers your brain's natural pain response in a way that swiping a piece of plastic absolutely never does. Friction triggers awareness.
And that brings us to Section 5, the scarcity mindset tax. What gets heavily overlooked in all of this is just how cognitively expensive it is to be broke. It's like having a heavy program constantly running in the background of your computer. Researchers actually found that this constant mental preoccupation with not having enough literally drains your processing power. It causes this dangerous feedback loop where financial stress forces you to make terrible, short-term decisions, like taking out high-interest loans or making emotional impulse purchases just for some immediate relief. The stress causes poor decisions, which just causes more stress.
This is exactly why your very first financial move really shouldn't be investing in the stock market or even trying to pay off all your debt at once. It should simply be building a $1,000 emergency fund. Just that simple act is enough to silence that blaring background scarcity alarm in your head. And once that alarm finally stops ringing, your brain regains the cognitive bandwidth it desperately needs to actually make better, long-term decisions. Now we've reached the most critical part of this entire explainer, Section 6, the identity fix.
Ultimately, you are never going to change your financial behavior long-term unless you change your actual financial identity. Behavior always follows identity. If you constantly walk around telling yourself, "Oh, I'm just bad with money," well, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You've got to flip the script right now. Replace it immediately with the identity of someone who says, "I am learning to build wealth." Every smart decision you make from then on will reinforce that brand new identity.
And listen, this isn't just motivational fluff. It's a real concept called identity-based habit formation. Small actions are what we call identity votes. So, if you are someone who is learning to build wealth, you need to act like it right now by casting your first identity votes. Go automate your savings today. And hey, since you're clearly the kind of person who values financial education, take a second to vote for that identity by liking this explainer, dropping a comment below on what surprised you the most, subscribing and turning on that notification bell so you never miss an upgrade, and sharing this knowledge with a friend who might need a financial boost. Every single time you act in alignment with who you're becoming, that new identity gets stronger.
By understanding all these traps, from the income illusion all the way to the scarcity tax, you start to realize that your financial struggles are not character flaws. Honestly, none of this means you're broken. It simply means you're a human being operating on outdated mental software. And we just patched that software today.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to carry with you. What is the very first, small, immediate identity vote you are going to cast today to prove to your brain that your financial identity has permanently shifted? Seriously, don't wait for tomorrow. Make the choice right now. And I will see you in the next